I'm Tracy Purdy. First of all, I'm the Director of Professional Learning here at CarePod. I'm a former fourth grade and sixth grade teacher, and I live in the Minneapolis area. So I'm going to let everybody else jump in and introduce themselves, and I'll pass it over to Danielle.
I'm Danielle. I am the partnerships manager at CarePod. I live outside of Austin, Texas. I am a former teacher, mostly taught in Texas for the last 10 years, focused on fourth grade, and I was a mostly math science teacher. And I will pass it on to Claudia.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia Garcia, and I live in South Texas, in the very tip of Texas. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I am a former ELA teacher, specifically with sixth grade. So, any of my middle school friends, shout out to you guys. I know the feel. And I'm also with CarePod customer experience support. So, anything that you guys need, I am your girl, and I'm happy to be here. Passing it over to Amanda.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Akins. I am also a partnerships manager here at CarePod. I am located in Florida. My background is also in education, but I was a guidance counselor for 7 years. So just super excited to be here with you all today to chat all things test prep in CarePod.
It's so fun to see all of you introducing yourselves in the chat as well. Lots of different states represented, grade levels, everything. So we hope that you get something out of this. We know that test prep, usually when you hear that, you're thinking about kids sitting silently, doing drill and kill packets, or maybe they're just clicking alone on a screen, but that's not what it is in CarePod. CarePod test prep is just simply really great writing instruction. It's the whole class writing together, discussing, getting feedback in the moment, reflecting on their feedback, and immediately applying that feedback to show that they have learned something. And it's working. So districts have been using CarePod and they've been seeing huge gains in their test scores. 32% growth in Texas, 46% growth in California. We're going to share a lot of those case studies with you later so that you can read them yourself. But we just keep on hearing from teachers that their toughest kids are jumping out of their seats. The name of this webinar was Get Your Kids Jumping Out of Their Seats. And we have seen kids jumping out of their seats during test prep. Just check out some of the posts on some of our social media channels. You'll see the kids in Claudia's classroom jumping out of their seats, sharing about their feedback, excited about their growth. So today we're going to jump in and I'm going to pass it over to Amanda so she can do a quick demo to show you how CarePod makes writing test prep engaging, effective, and empowering, and maybe even a little bit magical.
Okay, can everybody, Tracy, can you see my screen okay?
We can, yes, it's great.
Okay, fantastic. All right, yeah, so as Tracy said, today we are going to focus on test prep. If you are familiar with CarePod, or if you're not, this is just one of the features and solutions that CarePod offers. So the purpose of today's webinar is to show you how to navigate to test prep, take you through an example of one of our test prep lessons. And I'm actually going to have you all join in and experience it from the student perspective. So would love if you all would actively participate with me. And then I'm going to show you the data that you receive after you do a test prep lesson in CarePod. So first thing I'm going to do is show you where to navigate. So this is the home page of CarePod. You're going to go into generate a lesson. Right now, this is what the interface looks like, but I can share that probably maybe by the end of the week or next week, it might look a little bit different, but it will be even easier to find it. It will be very bold and it will say test prep. So I'm going to go ahead and click into test prep, but just to highlight our lesson generator where you can put in any topic, any standard that you're going to teach, or upload your own materials and it will create an interactive slide deck for you based off of those materials, and then our writing library. So check those out when you have a chance. So if I click into test prep and I utilize this drop down button, here is where I can navigate to the states where we support test prep. If you see yours, fantastic. If we don't have your test prep, drop a comment, let us know what would be helpful. Our team is continuing to build out this particular solution, so let us know. But you can go ahead and you can scroll through, find your state. I will show you too that down at the bottom, we have writing frameworks. And if you click that, we do have erase activities as well. If you live in a state that has the WIDA exam, that is going to be the language proficiency test that English language learners have to take. We also do have a WIDA test prep for the states that take that. For today's particular webinar, I am going to do a STAR test prep activity. That is the state assessment in Texas. So if I go ahead and click on STAR, I have the option now to scroll through the subjects that we support. So in Texas specifically, you will see more beyond RLA: social studies, US history, science, biology, math. Today, I'm going to do an RLA lesson. So I'll click RLA, and then we can select the question type that we want to focus on. So I'll drop down so you can see the other options. We have SCR, ECR, revising sentences. I'm going to click an SCR for the sake of time. And then when I hit next, here is the next step in creating our lesson. So 2 different ways that we can do that. I will show you, use my materials. So here you would select your grade level. That way it's going to adjust the Lexile levels and the feedback according to that specific grade. But you can actually create your own test prep. So you would insert your own question that you want your students to respond and get feedback on, or you can upload your own passage. You can paste it, or we can connect with your Google Drive, or you can upload it. That's a really great way to bring in your tiered 1 curriculum as well. But I'm going to go back, and today we're going to create with AI. So I can select the passage genre. We'll do argumentative today. And then I'm going to, again, select the grade level. We'll do 5th grade. And then here is where I can either bring in cross-curricular content. So if it's something that we're focusing in social studies, like the Alamo, I can type that in and it is going to generate a passage and a question around that particular topic. Or you can also pull in things that are relevant to student interests, like Minecraft, music, video games, or something that's timely. So today I'm going to do holiday traditions because the season is upon us. And then I can select the skill that I want my students to focus on. So by selecting this particular skill, this is going to inform the constructed question that I'm going to be responding to. So inference made from text, main claim of text, author's purpose, intended audience, how language builds voice, or determine the meaning of an academic tier 2 word or phrase. I will do main claim of text, and then I'm going to hit generate a lesson. So then now what it is going to do is it is going to build the passage for us. It is going to build the question for us. And then it is also going to provide us with an agenda and the rubric. So in CurryPod, as Tracy had mentioned, we provide students with AI feedback on their written responses. However, in our test prep activities, the rubrics in which they're going to receive feedback on are going to be that state's rubric. So for instance, this Texas STAR SCR, it is going to be TEA's rubric built in, and they are going to get feedback specifically aligned to that rubric. We always encourage teachers to review any of the content that CurryPod has created, and you have the ability to edit it and make it your own if you would like to tweak things or add activities. You can do that here through our AI assistant. So you can actually tell the AI what you would like to change about the particular lesson that it is created, or you can manually edit. Here is where you can add questions, you can add videos, pictures, and you can even translate to make this content accessible in any other secondary language. So now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start our lesson. I'm going to do it in the classroom simulator view. That is essentially a preview. However, if you were teaching a CurryPod lesson, you would actually just click start lesson, and then there on your board, it would display the code and the QR code as well. So I'm going to click classroom simulator, and there we go. So on the right-hand side, this is what you would see as a teacher that you would project on your board. On the left-hand side, this is going to be the student experience. So I'm going to have you all, let's see, can I drop it in the ability to drop it in the chat? Here we go. I am dropping the link to the lesson in the chat. But you can also go to Curie.live and you can put in this 6-digit PIN code, so 503712. And as you are joining, you will be given a nickname that is intentionally part of CuriePod's design because you will see this is a synchronous experience. We want all students responding, and in order to feel confident and safe in doing so, we don't want their name associated with it. So then you're also going to be prompted to put your real name in on the back end. And that is because in our moderation tab down here on the teacher screen, you are able to pull up the moderation tab and see what students are doing in real time on their device. And you see real names, not their nicknames. So I'm just going to give you all about 15 more seconds to join in. And even if you don't have an opportunity to join in right now, you can always go to Curie.live and you can put in this 6-digit PIN code and join as the lesson has already started. All right, so we'll go ahead and press start. So then today we are going to read a passage, write a SCR, get a score and feedback, reflect and discuss, revise to improve. So setting that agenda and the expectations for students. And then you have an opportunity to review the rubric. So students know they can get a maximum of 2 points on this particular test prep. And here's how they can achieve that. So what you're seeing too on the left-hand side on the student screen is they are able to follow along in the slides mode. They can never advance forward though. They can only go backwards. But you could also have them put it in focus mode as well. So they are just focusing their whole attention on the board. So then now students will go ahead and read the passage. A couple different ways to do that. So as a teacher, you have the option to pull up the passage on the board. You can enlarge the text. So if you wanted to do like popcorn style reading or group read aloud, you're able to do that. But students on their devices as well are able to read independently. If you click the materials button, the article will appear and they are able to read through that. Again, having the option to make the text larger if necessary. We're not going to read the whole passage right now though. So then the next is going to be a scaffolding activity. And this is just an opportunity for students to review what they read in the passage. And then they're actually going to have an opportunity to vote on their peers' responses. So they're able to see how their peers are approaching this particular passage or what's resonating with them. So I'm going to go ahead and press Start Activity. Now on your screen, you are going to see a text box appear. And again, you have the option to toggle to materials so that you're able to find something that you related to about holiday traditions in the text. And then you'll also see too at the top, it says that you have the ability to actually give more than one answer. So this particular one allows you to submit 3 different answers. We've got about a minute left, but I will draw your attention on the teacher screen to the bottom right-hand corner. That's going to be our timer. So as a teacher, you have the ability to control this. So if I actually opened my moderation tab, which I'll show you in real time, what are you doing? I am able to open this up and I can see in real time, like I said, what students are doing on their device. So it helps me either to do live intervention. I do have the ability to dismiss inappropriate responses if that was necessary, but it also helps me know how much time I might need to add for my students or if I need to end the activity early so they do not disengage. So we've got about 15 more seconds.
Hey Amanda, you want to lower the volume for the
I'm
music?
sorry?
You want to lower the volume for the CurryPod music just so they can hear you a little better.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and we're going to start the voting process. So on your screen, you're going to get served up two of your two responses at a time. And that way you are able to just, again, see how everybody is thinking about the particular passage, maybe in a perspective that you hadn't thought about before, and you're able to vote. And as yours gets voted on, you will get a +1 star on your device. So students will get that real-time positive reinforcement. Okay, and then I will give us all just about 10 more seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and end our voting. Okay, so then now on my teacher screen, you will see all student responses, but the ones that got voted the most will appear in a podium format. So you're able to see first, second, and third, but you are able to see all other responses as well. But it just gives an opportunity to have that classroom discussion before they actually respond to the question. So I can pull up someone's answer and ask any of my students to volunteer to share more about what they wrote, or I can ask students why they voted on this particular response, what resonated with them. So then now here is going to be the actual constructed response. So what is the main claim about holiday traditions in the passage? Support your answer with evidence from text. So read the question carefully, then record your answer in the box provided. Again, we know we can earn up to 2 points to provide a correct response and cite evidence from text. So I'll go ahead and get started, and I'll give us all maybe about like 2.5 minutes. Just do your best. I know we didn't actually read the passage. I'll give you all about 30 more seconds. So it shows that we received 13 answers. So then I'm going to go ahead and press give feedback. When I press give feedback, everybody on their device is going to get feedback that is individualized, specific to their response. So it's going to look different for everybody. So I'll press give feedback. Now check out on your device what you got. I'll give you a couple seconds to read it through. And then as a teacher, you can see all of the answers appear on this same screen. So it gives us an opportunity to review as a class how the feedback differentiated. So I'm able to see this particular person got a score of 1, and they need to finish their response to make it complete. And then it's going to give us the process to improve the writing on our second attempt.
And we do, Amanda, there was a question in the chat about seeing unfinished responses. You'll see all responses, whether the students have completed them or not. But as you're teaching and doing this in your class, if some students aren't done, oftentimes the teacher will add a little bit more time, or you would have a little bit more insight into that.
Yep. Thank you. Then I just pulled up another one so you can kind of see. The other one we saw was a 1. This person scored a 0, and then it's going to share with us why, and then again, the process to improve the writing. So then the next activity in CurryPod is to get a pulse check for the teacher as far as what were students seeing that their biggest piece of feedback was. So I'll go ahead and start the activity. And on your screen, you have the option to select how you can improve based off of what you wrote and what feedback you received. Okay. So then as a teacher, I can see that a lot of my students got the feedback that they need to provide more evidence from the text. So we might go back, review the passage, and review how to cite good evidence to support our claim. So then the next activity, which I'm not going to have you all do, is actually an opportunity to take that original response, use the feedback to revise the original response to improve within one learning loop. So I'm actually going to show you, don't have the expectation for you all to write again, but I want to show you how students can do that. So if I press start activity, you'll see on the student screen that the text box is going to appear again. My students can toggle back to slides, and then they can go back to the slide where they submitted their first response. They are able to copy their original response here, and then they have the ability to use this feedback, this process to improve their original response, to resubmit, to hopefully grow from a 0 to a 1 to a 2. And this real-time feedback and opportunity to revise while the learning is fresh and the feedback is fresh is exactly to Tracy's point, where we are seeing students significantly improve writing scores. So I'm going to end this activity. Press the give feedback. And then the last activity is going to be a brain break. So we want to reward the students for all of their hard work. Students love this part. This is where they can design a billboard that actually illustrates the response that they wrote. So then the last thing that I'm going to highlight is the reporting feature that teachers receive at the end of any lesson that they do in CurryPod. Because we were in the classroom simulator, we are not going to get reports specific to the activity that we just did, but I am going to show you an example. So you will see your learning objective, and then CurryPod is going to go in and analyze all student responses against the questions, and it is going to provide you with class level data. So it's going to highlight the common understandings of your class as a whole around that particular objective. It is also going to provide you common misconceptions as well. And then it will provide you an actionable item to address the particular objective or topic outside of CurryPod. And then on the right-hand side, you can see participation percentage. So this way you can see that engagement. But then at the bottom, we do highlight for you the students that we considered at risk or performed low. So those are going to be your students that, one, didn't participate at all, but those other students that scored like a 0. We hyperlink you to them, although you have this data for every single student. But for your students, you're going to get a glow, a grow, an actionable item. You'll see the questions, how they responded. And then if it was an activity where they got feedback, you will actually see the feedback that they received. So if this was, for an example, that STAR lesson we just did, you would be able to see their first answer, their feedback, and their score. And then if on their second attempt, they grew. So I think that's all from me. I'm going to pass it over, I believe, to Claudia.
Awesome. Well, hey, I know we're in the virtual setting, but if we could just give her a quick round of applause because Amanda, you nailed it. That was great. I know as a former teacher, as I shared earlier, I was a crazy teacher who was using CurryPod all the time. And I'm happy to share a little bit about how that went. But I'll go ahead and highlight just everything that Amanda just shared with us. That second rewrite, the reports, all of that is just why we're all here in this webinar today, because we want to go ahead and switch it up to like the way that we normally think about test prep. As we're right in the cusp of holiday season, we're already thinking of what's waiting for us on the other side in January, right? It's that drill and kill. How do we spruce it up? And here we are. So I can share that with my personal use in the classroom. We drove such great gains, and I can boast about it all day, and it's my bragging right story. But if you ought to know something about me, I really hate, it gives me like the ick, even having to think about bragging about anything. But when I take a step back and think of what this bragging right story gives me, and I'm talking about the case study that we'll go ahead and share with you all at the end of the webinar, it's really more than just bragging rights. It's the story of what happened in my classroom, the way that my students really drove impact in their writing in a series of 1 to 2 years. We have 2 different case studies just showing incredible gains. And the main reason basically was because we were using CurryPod, almost every day. You don't have to. There's actually, I would use it and pair it up with my scope and sequence, my district curriculum that I was expected to follow. And I would always spruce it up, right? The way that Amanda shared at the very beginning, you can take any topic like the holiday season or pair it up with something that you are definitely covering in your scope and sequence, whether it's for science, social studies, you name it, whether you're in Texas or in Florida. And that's how it really pairs well with your scope and sequence, your district curriculum, or just some crazy topic that you might have at the top of your head. And going back to why this drives impact, well, it really pairs up with the way that your test prep in your state allocates point systems and everything for students. So we're pretty much showcasing what students can anticipate at the end of that test, even before, right? So in every single class, when they're showing up and you're running a CurryPod lesson that is test prep driven, your students are getting that exposure to the rubric, to discussing why they are getting scored a certain way. They get to see the results, not 6 weeks later or a week later or a semester later. They get to see the results and their gains in every single lesson. So that is so powerful. And I just have to share that with you all because I know that was a big driving force in my classroom. To that point, I can say that CurryPod drove a lot of advocacy for my students when it came to test prep because they really knew how to argue and they got very well at arguing. And when I say arguing, they wouldn't argue with me, but they argued about their points, right? If they stayed at a 0, like some of you guys, when you looked at your feedback, you might have been like, how did I get a 0? Or how did I get a 1? Kudos to those of you who got a 1 without reading the passage. You got some talent there. But honestly, as a student, you get to see those scores and you get to advocate for yourself. That's something that I saw a lot in the classroom. Kiddos would come in and say, well, ma'am, I got a 0. How do I get to that 1? And it was always taking them back to the reminder of, well, look at the rubric. Remember the rubric. We started off with a rubric. There's even the rubric is embedded into the writing portion, as Amanda showed you all. So the kids always have that reference point of how they're going to be scored. It's never going to be a surprise, which is why by the time that they get to the actual state exam, whether it's in Texas, California, Florida, New York, they know what to expect. They know how to how to perform to that specific point system. So it becomes really, really powerful, just the advocacy that comes from it. What else? What else? Am I missing anything? I know bragging rights. I know I mentioned my case study. Tracy will go ahead and share that with you guys in the chat. And I do like to say bragging rights, but remember, it's not me. It's really the story of what my students really did in the classroom. And I'm just so excited to share that forward. If you give test prep a try on CurryPod, I know that it's going to be a game changer, not something that you're going to be dreading for. I had never heard more enthusiasm for writing other than when I launched out CurryPod in my classroom, the students, when they say, hey, can we do that again? Really, they're asking to continue working, and that is just that's just music to our ears. So hope that you guys give it a try, and we're here to help you guys out with any questions that you all have regarding test prep. Let me know if I missed out on anything, Tracy, or if you guys have any questions, put it on the chats.
Put your questions in the chat. We'd love to answer them. I know that people have been putting them throughout the webinar, and if you have other questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little orange chat bubble, and if you actually click on that, you'll connect with one of us from our team. It's not an AI chatbot or anything, but one of us, and we'll be able to help you and answer questions. And so make sure you do that. There have been some questions. We'll send out additional information about pricing as well, just so you understand what our different plans are. But know that the best way, reach out and meet with us. I'll send the Calendly link in, or I'll send a link in a follow-up email where you can click on it and you can book a meeting with someone from our team so that we can chat with you about what are the individual needs at your school and district, and we would love to work with you. So Danielle's putting that in the chat right now. I will put in this one pager, just a reminder, high level, what is CurryPod test prep? Why is it different? There are some links to the case studies below there. All of the case studies are also linked on our website under impact and efficacy. So make sure you go there and check that out. But yeah, any other questions? We've got, let's see here, Carrie. Okay, the free version but cannot access reports. Does that have to be a paid upgrade? You can actually access a report. You just can't access any of you can't generate insights on your report. So where Amanda was showing you the standard and the misconceptions, you can't access that part. You should be able to get a report though after using the lesson. And then, yes, we will definitely send out more information about the pricing. We do have school and district plans, but happy to work with you. So reach out to us and we'll chat and figure out what's best for you and your school. All of you for coming here, though, are going to get access to test prep until December 31st. So if you just quickly fill out this form, I just need your name, your school email, and then your school name would be very helpful as well. We'll go ahead and get you upgraded right away, and then would love to touch base with you at some point, hear how it's going, see what you think, and we'll go from there. So any other questions or anybody, Danielle, you want to jump in and share a little bit?
Tracy, I was just going to say, I saw a number of people just say that they budget concerns and things like that. We completely understand. Our team works with teachers every single day that are in this similar predicament in all different states. What I'd recommend is, Tracy mentioned that you guys are going to have access to the school plan for the rest of the year. If possible, when you're doing CurryPod, if it's something that really resonates with you and it's working well in your classroom, invite your admin to come and see a CurryPod lesson. They will be blown away. They will absolutely be bought in. And I'm not going to guarantee that anyone's going to purchase anything, but it definitely makes it easier to have those conversations and to be able to talk with your admin after they've seen it in person with students live using CurryPod. It speaks so much to the power of that immediate feedback and 100% of student engagement. So I highly recommend that, but I dropped a link to meet with us. We'll meet with you. We'll talk through options. We are happy to help in every single way possible. We'll give you all the ideas and tips.
Fabulous. Well, wonderful. Well, if there are any other questions, you can either share them quickly, or reminder, we're always here. We're ready to jump on a call and chat with you at any time. I'll send a follow-up email shortly with the recording and all of these resources to make sure that you can get access to CurryPod for the rest of the year. And yeah, once again, share your findings with us. Tell us what you think. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's such a busy time of year, but happy holidays, and we hope to stay in touch. Thanks.